Hello, everyone. My first question to all of you: do you want to take control of your life? So today we have Arslan Minhas with us. He will share three life-changing tips, and it will be a really interesting show. And over to Arslan. First, give us brief introduction about yourself.
So thank you, Sharik, first of all, for inviting. I really appreciate to be here on your platform. So yeah, my name is Arsalan Minhas. I'm the regional vice president at Alfresco. We are a software development company. We develop and sell software solutions all across the globe. And I run after the pre-sales business for Europe, Middle East, and Africa. I'm based out of beautiful city of Munich, which is also the city of Oktoberfest. Um, I was born and raised in Pakistan. I started my career with a Silicon Valley-based software company. And for the last 15, 16 years, almost 16 years, I'm
Mhm.
settled here in Germany. So yeah, that's a quick introduction about myself.
Yeah. So actually, it's a very quick introduction, but actually his achievements are really great. But we will quickly go into the tip number one. But before that, I will tell the audience that they have the chance at the end to ask the questions. So you can post your questions in the comments and also the feedback. Yeah. So we will directly go to the tip number one.
Yeah. So first of all, Sharik, as you already said, that I'm going to cover three tips, which I have also learned from the highly effective people. And all the three tips are around the topic that we have to wake up and take the control of our life.
Mhm.
The tip number
Yeah.
one, which I would like to share with you and also with the audience, is that have a dream in your life.
Okay.
Your
Makes
life
sense.
needs to have a reason. Your life needs to have a purpose. Life without a purpose is no life.
True.
And I can tell you that I have seen people coming to me and saying that the most important thing in life is to have a plan. And I completely disagree with that. If
Uh-huh.
you know Martin Luther King, he
Mhm.
stood on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial 50 years ago and spoke to the people about their greater future. He did not say, I have a plan. Instead, he shared a dream with all those
Hmm.
people, provided a vision of equality and hope for a struggling nation.
Yeah,
To make
that's
it
really
more,
interesting.
to make it more concrete, my dream is to serve the humanity, to bring a difference or to make a difference in people's life. The path that I have taken to make this dream a reality is to invest in innovation, in technology to make a difference in people's life. I
Yes.
see that you are also following that dream, but taking a completely different path. You are putting all your energy and time in doing social work, volunteer work, also going into now or entering into politics. There are also other people who might have the same dream, but they would like to become a medical doctor so that they could serve the humanity. So different people could take on different path, could take on different plan to make
Mhm.
their dream a reality. So if I would summarize my tip number one, I would
Mhm.
say have a dream in your life. Of course, you need a plan to make that dream a reality, but you need to start with a dream. Dream big and have a dream.
That's really interesting. So that we need to fantasize, we need to really dream big and then try to achieve it. But without a dream, then in the life has no purpose. So before moving to life-changing tip number two, I will ask the audience that you can post the questions in the comments and the feedback also. We have one question already, but we will take it in the after the three life-changing tips from Arsalan. So let's move to tip number two.
So my tip number two is the success is built out of two important words:
Mhm.
focus and persistence.
Hmm.
Let me explain that. Our life is like this. We have ups
Yes,
and downs, which in parts
true.
of parcel of life. Because even on an ECG, if you look at a straight line, that means death. So straight line does not exist in our lives. They are ups and downs, part of every life.
Yes.
It's very easy that if we are not focused with so many things happening around us, that we can get distracted.
Hmm.
And if you are at the bottom of your oscillator, you are at the bottom of your pendulum. If you are not persistent, it's
Yes.
very easy to give up, to lose
True.
all the
True.
hope. And
Hmm.
here I always give the example of Thomas Edison, that we all know he invented the light bulb, but that was not easy.
Yeah.
He That invention of light bulb was result of several hundred failed attempts. And in one of
Hmm.
the interviews, he was asked, "How do you feel after all your failed attempts?" And I really liked his response. His
Okay.
response was great. He said, "I did not fail. I learned hundreds of ways not to invent the light bulb."
Okay. Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah.
And that's the point, that he saw each failure as a lesson. From that lesson, he learned what works, what does not work, and what he could have done differently.
Hmm.
So each
Yes.
failed attempt, each rejection are the key steps on the path to success. And if you ask for my advice, I would say pay attention to your failures, study them, perhaps you will learn from them.
True.
So, once again, you need to have a dream, you need to have a plan to make that dream a reality. But when you are executing that plan, stay focused, stay persistent, success will come along.
Yes, this is a very good tip, and many people tell this also, because sometimes when we are in a down stage, we lose hope, and then we forget our path. So we need to stay focused and need to be persistent. Wonderful. Questions are also coming. Thank you guys, and keep posting the questions. We will take them after the tip number 3 from Mr. Zalan. Yes, let's move to tip
So,
3.
my last tip of the day is invest in yourself.
Yes.
And this builds on the first two tips. The first tip was have a dream, make a plan to make that dream a reality. Then, when you are executing that plan, remain focused and stay persistent. But how you can ensure that you have the right knowledge, you have the right skill set to execute that plan? And this is
Yeah.
where the investment in your own self comes into the picture. And I'm a firm believer that everyone, every individual needs to invest in education and especially in soft skills. We all have gone to a school, to a college, to a university where we receive education on IT, on engineering, on medicine. But most of us are guilty that we underestimate the value or the importance of soft skills. And
True.
I'm a firm believer that the good grades, the good education could land you to the first good job.
True.
Maybe you are able to establish your business with all that knowledge. But in order to flourish in your business, in order to climb the success ladder in your organization, you need soft skills. Things like understanding of human psychology is considered to be the most important thing in business at the top positions and even in
Mhm.
politics. When you are in any leadership role in the organization, how you manage conflicts, how you resolve
Yes.
conflicts,
Mhm.
how you negotiate with people, how you develop high performance teams, those skills come into the picture. If you are in
Yes.
sales, what are your rhetoric skills, presentation skills are also equally important. So, and this is something I'm sharing from my own experience,
Mhm.
that we all went to great schools, colleges, universities, we got quality education, but we never learned about those soft skills, which are paramount
Yes.
for success in your life. And here
But
I
it's
want,
never too late. Yes, we can still continue to learn. Everyone can continue to learn whole the life, right?
indeed, and here I always give the example that if you look at this coffee cup, I asked this question. In fact, let me also ask this question to you now, Sharik. What do you think is more important, the coffee or this cup?
Actually, the, the coffee is important, but actually the feel and look can be, make you feel happy to have this with you.
So I can tell you that 98%, 99% of the people say that coffee is important. Okay, when they look at this Harley Davidson come, they say, okay, no, this cup is important, but okay, that's a joke. Joke aside, many people think that, okay, coffee or tea is more important.
Mhm.
And If you ask me, I would then ask a second question, that what would you say if this cup has a crack or this mug is cracked? Will it
I would
hold?
not. Yeah, it will. So the feeling will not be good. I would not want to drink from it, even the
In
coffee tastes the same.
in fact, you won't be able to have any coffee when it's cracked.
Yeah.
It can easily spill over. So there is no coffee without the mug.
Mhm.
And that you can apply that the coffee is the content. Coffee is what we have received the education on
Mhm.
science, on arts, on literature, on medicine, on engineering in our lives. But this mug is the context, that how you deliver that information, how good are your presentation skills. And if you don't have that good context, if you're not able to deliver that information, it doesn't really matter how quality your content is. So
Yes.
this is where I
True.
say that invest in education, but don't underestimate the value of the soft skills. So
Mhm.
invest in those soft skills as well. And if you do that, then you have the necessary skill set and the knowledge to execute your plan, which you need to make your dream a reality.
Good. So these are very nice three tips. I will put them on the screen again. And after that, now we take some questions. So Aslan said, have a dream, dream big, and then plan with tip number two, focus and persistence. And also continue to invest in yourself so that you can continuously improve yourself. So now, first question we have from Usman from Cologne is that how can I differentiate that the purpose is right or not?
In fact, you are the person who is deciding what is the right purpose for you
Mhm.
in your life. Every It varies from individual to individual. Maybe a good purpose for you is not a good purpose for me. We all have our own values. We all
Mhm.
have our own visions in our life. And you are the only one who is in the best situation or the shape to decide which purpose in your life matters the most. And again, you are the one who has to decide that.
Yes, true, true. And similar question, Naveed is saying because you started in the you started by saying that my purpose is to serve the humanity. So he is asking, what does serving the humanity mean to you?
Yeah. So for me, serving the humanity means making difference in people's life. It's making difference in the life of people, whether these are underprivileged people, orphans who are struggling to make an impact or to live a decent life in the society, and also people who life standards can be improved with the quality of innovation, technology, education, and so on. So that is my interpretation of serving the humanity. Having said that, I already gave in my example, I explained that in my example earlier, that for someone it could be going into the politics and serve the nation. For someone, it could be becoming a medical doctor and
Mhm.
actually find the problems of different diseases and sicknesses. For someone
Yes.
who, like me, could be invest in innovation and technology and make a difference in people's life. So
Mhm.
serving the humanity interpretation could vary from person to person. What does this mean for me? I've already explained that.
Yes, very nice, very nice. And please ask questions. We have five or we can say 5 to 10 more minutes. So Dr. Homera is asking, with reference to Edison's example, how do we know how many times should we try again and again? When to call it quits?
So that's a very good question. There is no numeric number that can be associated with that okay, you have to try 100 times or 126 times before you call it as a quit or not. It's important that in each of those failures, you have to learn what you could
Mhm.
do differently. Because Einstein also once said that insanity is doing same thing again and again and expecting different results.
Mhm.
So when you're trying, when you are you're having a new iteration, you have to try it differently. You have to learn from your mistake, from the failure. But there is no
Mhm.
numeric limit that how many times you could try or not. And here I could also share a good example with Humera, that look at a child when
Mhm.
he starts crawling or when he starts to walk, he falls like hundreds of times, but he doesn't give up. He keeps on trying. And one day he starts walking, and both the parents are very happy that my child is walking.
Mhm.
And there is no numeric limit that you could define that the child can only try 100 times and afterwards he should give up. So
Yes.
yeah,
I have a similar question. For example, so we know that from the parents, from everyone, okay, it's a good thing that in the goal is to walk. The child is trying, in the end, he wants to walk. But if somebody is saying that I want to invent an elephant, and he keeps trying and trying and trying, but he cannot invent an elephant because it's not possible. So at what time then he should call it quits?
he
Or
need,
how should he know that he's doing something impossible?
I think the person needs to know what type of goals he's setting for himself. Um, and this is where also there is no limit to also insanity to have to for insanity. So in the end, the goals need to be, I won't say the goals need to be realistic, because sometimes even unrealistic things have happened when people have really endeavored along those lines. But from those failures, one should be able to learn whether it's possible or not, or what type of mistakes he is doing. And if he comes across that is a completely unrealistic goal, then it makes sense to take a completely different route.
And does it also makes in these kind of situations to take help of some kind of a mentor, for example? So Arishad is asking, what about having a mentor?
That's a very good point from Arshad. I totally agree with that. Our knowledge is always limited. We are better. I mean, it's no, we are better when we work as a team. And in fact, if you remember Steve Jobs, Steve Jobs, he once said that we hire good people who tell us what we need to do. So in the end, even a great person like Steve Jobs was relying on the knowledge and the wisdom of other people. So it's good to have mentors, it's good to have coaches, it's good to even reach out to other people, seek their advice, because um, I'm a firm believer that you learn a lot when you work as a team and not as an individual.
Very nice tip. And then, yeah, in the meanwhile, questions are coming. Actually, people are really excited. So please post your questions. We can extend maybe 5 more minutes. We request Arsalan if he has 5 more minutes,
That
for
should be
us.
fine. I'm done with
Okay.
things for the day. So the only thing which is basically standing between this session and the night is the dinner. So all good.
Okay. Yeah, so Naveed is asking, which tips do you use to keep focused on the goal considering all the distractions that we have in life?
Again, that's a very good question from Naveed, because we are humans, we are not robots.
Mhm.
And every human has a threshold, has a buffer. So there, when things happen which are not in our control, which basically somehow disturbs us, it's possible that we lose the focus or we just give up. In the end, I have practiced a lot my willpower over the course of
Mhm.
times. So I also strongly suggest that if you are strong mentally,
Mhm.
uh, work on your mental power, work on your willpower that allows you to remain focused and also being persistent. This is something where understanding of human psychology also plays a very important role. And these are things that I've also done, that I've improved my willpower and mindset over the course of time, and that allowed me to remain focused and avoid any distractions.
Yeah, that's good question, because of the distractions, and can also be about the ambitions, too many ambitions. So have a question by Wahab. Wahab is asking that what can we do when we have interest in too many projects which are all meaningful and have the same importance to me?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And I remember, Sharik, maybe I was having that conversation with you some years ago, because someone's trying to reach me all the time. I don't know what's going on. Uh, so I'm a firm believer that you have only 24 hours in a day, and you can only do few things in a day. So when a lot of things come on your plate, you can just get, you basically spread yourself so thin across so many different things that in the end nothing actually have materialized.
Mhm.
For example, I was part of a founding team to establish one of the clubs in Munich a while ago, but I stepped back from that initiative just because I was not able to allocate time for that activity, although it was very close to my heart. So in the end, you have to look, everyone has to look at the priorities in the life and select the options that are most important and focus on them, because if you try to do so many things, in the end, you end up doing nothing.
Hmm. So yeah, so we have to prioritize and select for ourselves among them.
Indeed.
So Varda is asking, how can we remain persistent if we are falling again and again? It's a similar question, but maybe it's very important one.
So this is where I will once again re-emphasize on the example of Edison. He was persistent. He was failing again and again, but he was persistent. And the most important thing is he was learning what he needs to do differently so that it works. So that is all about persistence. Persistence is don't give up, but learn also from your mistakes. Because
Hmm.
if you're not learning from those mistakes and you're just repeating what you have already done, then it becomes insanity as per the Einstein definition. And again, for persistence, I also say that you need to have a strong willpower. You need to work on your mental mindset, which I mentioned earlier. And if you do these things, that will also help you to remain not only focused, but also persistent.
Right. Yeah. So Naveed is asking again: the higher one grows in career ladder, the harder it gets to reach the next level. What is your personal experience, and what approach do you follow to succeed?
That's again, Naveed, for a second good question. So thank you for asking that. As I already mentioned that your education, your grades could lead you to a great job. Maybe you are able to get part of a great organization as an entrepreneur. But in order to grow, on one side is, of course, your functional knowledge is important. But I'm assuming that everyone already has that knowledge based upon the education that we get in our schools, colleges, and universities. I strongly emphasize on the value of soft skills, as I already mentioned. And the soft skills, for example, could vary from profession to profession. If you want to grow in the leadership, then team building, conflict resolution, all those skills comes into the picture. Presentation skills, rhetoric skills are important in any profession. If you really want to go higher up in the business, then psychology, human psychology, negotiation skills, people management skills become very important. And these are the things which Sharik also knows I share from time to time on my LinkedIn, on my Facebook page, and also on YouTube. So you're more than happy to also follow those tips or reach out to me, because I'm a firm believer that people from Indian and Pakistani subcontinent only focus on the education. They always underestimate the value of soft skills.
Yeah, so soft skills are very important.
Indeed.
Yeah, so we have a second last question for the day. And Arhan is asking that sometimes for taking advice from people, you start doubting your goals and dreams. How much importance you should give to others' opinions while chasing your purpose? Very good question, actually.
Very good question. Here, I'm very much hardliner, very much hardliner, and I always give this example of a donkey and um, a father and a son. That if you try to please people, no matter whatever you do, people will never get pleased. So follow what you think is a right thing based upon the goals that you have set for yourself or you have set for your family. Take consultation from people, but don't try to please them. And because when you try to please them, you are just going in circles all the time. People will never get pleased and you will never accomplish your goals. So if I have to follow a path, I know I have to follow that path. I can maybe take some guidance from people, but in the end it's my own decision, and my decision is to keep on moving with the forward gear, moving forward. And that is, I'm a very much hardliner. I don't let people to change my goals or dreams. I follow the path which I want to follow.
Yes, thank you. So it was really great talking to you, and we had three tips from Arsalan: have a dream, focus on persistence, and invest in yourself. And that was really great. And yes, we have the last question for tonight, and that is from Arshad again. Do you also do mentoring?
Yes. So, of course, I mean, I mentioned earlier that I'm sharing tips on from time to time on my LinkedIn and Facebook channels, and Sharik can share those links after this session some with you guys. But yes, I do training as well as enablement as well as mentoring of people. So please reach out, and I'm happy to discuss it offline.
Yes, sure. So I will add in the description the links to the LinkedIn profile and the YouTube channel, and also put it in the comments. Please reach out to Arsalan for nice tips and suggestions. It was wonderful to have you here, and we will do a similar show every Friday with 3 life-changing tips from highly effective people and about taking control of your life and chasing the dreams. So, Arsalan, thank you very much for joining us. It was a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you, Sharik, for inviting. I hope these tips are useful for all the people wherever you are. Enjoy your day, enjoy your evening, and speak to you soon. Thank you.
Bye bye, everyone.